Hi guys, thanks so much for tuning in today, where I'm going to be drawing or hand painting these two, this Mickey and one of these Minnies on my client's nails today. She's going to Disneyland, or Disney World, I don't know, but so she wanted to kind of bring the Mickey inspiration. She brought a couple of things and I pretty much just freestyled it from the few ideas that she did let me know that she wanted. This is pretty much going to be a watch me work. I will come in sometimes with a couple of tips that I may have. For instance, coming in with the black, I use no chip gel paint polish. So just coming in with that and curing it helps a lot. You'll see here, instead of drawing and then going over with the paint, which takes more time, because I've gotten really comfortable with this brush, I know that it's easier for me to go in with the black polish first. That way it creates this really solid outline. So when I do add the colors are pretty easy to fill in because they kind of have like a well or an open area to kind of fill in. If you kind of get what I'm saying, which you'll see later on once I start adding the colors and stuff. So I definitely do advise to start with just the gel paint. That way you can also too, if you have any issues, it's not like it's permanent until you cure it. So you can always just use, your one of your brushes and just some acetone and remove whatever, then cure. Once you cure it, then you won't have to worry about it smudging also. And so it just saves you, a little bit of time and just a lot of effort and energy to just go ahead and use the black outline first. So I'm going to, right now I'm doing Minnie. So what's on top of her head, you can kind of see at the top is like, it's going to be a bow. Right now I'm working on her dress area. I did her shoes. So this one's Minnie, and then I'll come back once I kind of start doing the Mickey. And now I'm starting on the Mickey. With the Mickey, because he doesn't have a bow in his hair or head or fur or whatever at the top, I can go ahead and with my dotting tool and just create some really nice circular lines. When I can use my dotting tool, I definitely do use it to create circles. If it's a solid circle, I'm definitely going to go in with my dotting tool first, because then the circle is just a lot easier to do and it's a lot cleaner, the lines. So definitely recommend using your dotting tool whenever you can for solid circles. You'll see I'm doing it again here. I did it with his nose. Also cuts out the time of me trying to use this brush and make a circle out of it. I did learn that the hard way. It seems so simple now, but at first it was not that simple for me. So definitely your dotting tool, your brush. This brush I do want to let you know, the best things are custom made. So I actually made this brush. I think I said it in one of my other videos, probably the Alice in Wonderland, where I drew Alice in Wonderland. But I made this brush. It was a lot thicker, and then I just kept cutting away at the hairs until it was thin enough for me. I'm sure they sell some that are already made like that, but there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing like something custom made. So I have probably like 10 or 15 different brushes, different sizes, lengths, whatever. And this is my go-to every time. And I actually made another one that's like so thin. One of my clients was actually saying, she was like, I didn't even realize that you were using a brush because you can't really see, because it's literally like 2 hairs that I just use for really tiny stuff. You'll kind of see it. I think I recorded when I was doing Minnie's eyelashes, and that's usually where I use that super thin brush, is when I have somewhere that I need to get like a super fine line in. So don't be afraid to kind of cut your brushes a little bit when it comes to the art brushes. It's not like it's your acrylic brush that you lay acrylic with and you don't want to cut it and disrupt it, how the hairs are laid, etc. These kind of brushes, I mean, they're a dime a dozen. So cut it up, do what you got to do, make it to where it helps you to create your lines. I like this also, like how I cut the hairs. It makes it where I can make thin or thick lines. So that always adds a lot of depth and dimension to what you're painting, and kind of gives it more a realistic view. So don't, like I said, don't be afraid to like make your own brushes if that really helps you, which it really did truly help me. Now I'm going back to the Minnie and I'm adding the red color for the bow. I'll be adding color kind of where I can, and then curing it in between, and I'll be alternating from Minnie to Mickey. So when I am actually filling in the colors and stuff, to me, the best way, when I went to cosmetology school, the best way that I can explain it is how my favorite teacher explained it to me, is like, you have to see the end in what you're doing. So by that I mean, like, you'll see where it seems like I'm kind of randomly filling in here, there, everywhere, which I pretty much am, because in my mind I see where I'm going with it, and it's like a puzzle that I kind of just have to fit together. So that like I said, it seems like I'm kind of random. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm a little all over, like I was at the top, now I'm at the bottom, just filling in randomly. There's no explanation, rhyme, or reason other than I know where I'm going with this because I have the picture in my mind on, in front of me, etc. And I just know how to get there. So it's kind of just a puzzle piece of me coloring in different areas at a time and then curing in between. You'll also see that sometimes I use my dotting tool when I have to fill in spaces that are like, so I don't want to have to layer the paint. So if it's a space like how I just did his hair and his ears and stuff like that, it like creates the perfect thickness, because you don't want the paint too thick so that it won't cure, or when it cures, it's all like kind of still wet under there and then ends up bubbling and coming off. So by using the dotting tool, it gives it just enough, so that way I don't have to come in with a second coat, etc. Like I said before, there's a million and one brushes. I'm sure there's a brush that does this, but this is just what works for me when I'm trying to paint. Let me tell you, this is where Minnie starts to kind of go awry. Like in my mind right here where I'm putting her face, I'm a little lost, because that bow, I don't know if you can really see it when I showed the picture in the beginning of which one of her I was going to draw, It's like the bow is right at her mouth and her finger is there. It's a lot going on right there. And this being a nail, it's such a small space. The picture was so small that I was looking at. So Minnie was very difficult to do for me for some reason today. But I made it work. I had edited a lot of this video out because yeah, she was just super difficult to paint. But that's why I pretty much stopped where I was at with painting her face, because I didn't want to go too low and have the paint be just doubled up and look really thick randomly right there where her mouth and bow is and stuff. I don't like to layer paint when I'm doing drawings. I like to just be the first layer and that's it. It cuts out time, energy, effort, and also just makes it a lot cleaner. So for his feet and shoes and his pants, I custom made those colors. So of course the best tip that I can give you is when it comes to character drawings, hopefully you kind of know prior to starting them, like that your client wants to do them. So if you're well aware, then you want to make sure that you have your picture in mind. You kind of did a mini consultation with the client, so that way you can have custom colors already pre-made, so that you're not taking time to sit there and mix them and stuff like that, which I did here. And it doesn't take up a lot of time, but when you're doing character drawings, sometimes it can be kind of tedious and long, and you want to make sure that you're cutting down the time anywhere that you possibly can. I'll be honest, just doing the full set itself usually takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours. She had a soak off also, so that added about 40 minutes. And then just the drawing itself, honestly, was probably another hour and a half. So this took a really long time for me to do for us. But I have always received compliments from my clients on they appreciate that I take my time. I give them exactly what they want. It's very rare I have anybody who complains of anything that's going on. And if they do, it's usually an easy fix, if somebody has an issue with something. So time doesn't matter. It's the quality. And if your clientele feels like the time is more important, which everybody's time is important, but if they feel like, they want this but quicker, they can either find somebody else, go to a shop, they can try elsewhere, but definitely don't let anybody bully you, make you anxious, make you feel like you're taking too long to do your craft. There's a reason why they pay you to do what you do. And if they don't like it, that's fine. They can, move along after you finish what you're doing, but just make sure you stand firm on the time that it takes you. When I first started, I used to feel really self-conscious about how long it took me, but it's like, of course it's going to take me a long time. I just got into nails. When I left cosmetology school, I only did hair for years. I didn't do any type of nail, anything. It's only been a little over a year since I started nails. So, but like I said, when I first started, I was so self-conscious about it. But luckily, from the very beginning, I've been really blessed with 99% of my clients are amazing, supportive, awesome. Of course, there's that 1%, everybody has people I can work with them. Obviously, I do their nails, but sometimes it's just a little clash on ideas, stuff like that, which is okay. So my number one tip, if you get anything out of this video, is if you have to outline eyes in a very small place, start with black dots. You see here, I'm starting black dots, black dots. It is gonna make your life so much easier because you'll see with the Mickey, I come in and I just dot in the white after I do his mouth and stuff. And all you have to do is just dot over the white. So you're not sitting there putting the white, then trying to outline it with this little bitty tiny black, liner and all that kind of stuff. It just makes it way, way, way much easier to start with the black dot and then just fill it in with the white. So the Mickey is pretty much done. Like I said, the Minnie was a lot harder, so I have to keep going back to that one. But Mickey's pretty much done. I'm just going through and like any little lines or anything that I feels like needs to be cleaned up. Definitely got to add his tail. Can't forget that. So he's a mouse. But yeah, so I'm just finishing up some stuff. Probably gonna put the little black dots for his eyes and stuff too. And like I said, just cleaning up any lines that need to just be redrawn a little bit. All right, now here we go again with this freaking Minnie and her just difficult, but I'm filling in her face kind of. I kind of figured out where the bow is. Like you see where her finger, the end of her index finger is where it meets the, where her mouth is going to be, which is like literally right at the bow. So I just was trying to fill in where I could there. And, now I'm actually going to start working on the other fingers because Minnie's almost done, but I know that Mickey's done, so I can start pretty much just doing the other nail art. This one is just going to be just like this. I'm just going to fill in that area. The only thing I can say about this, there's not really a trick or a trade to it. You just kind of got to be good at lines. You definitely want to use a brush that's a lot longer, that has like long hairs on it when you're creating longer lines. That's something I can definitely advise. And also, I know everything in you is going to want to put the thick white on there so you don't have to come back and do a second layer. Save yourself the time, the trouble, and the bulk, and just do 2 thin layers. That's a lot of times why the shops have to go back and file down your sides and break that top coat seal, because the sides end up being too bulky. This finger is going to be a French tip. I like to just start with those lines as if I'm doing the other kind of the V French. That way I can just keep kind of working my way down until I feel like it's as far down as I want the tip to go. So I just keep working it little by little until I figure out exactly where it feels comfortable to me, depending on how long I want it. I really didn't want it too long because this is actually going to be polka dot like Minnie's dress. So yeah, I made the nude part a lot shorter, and it's going to be a lot of red so I can get those polka dots on there. another really big tip that I can give you is to make sure that you're staying in control of the tip of your brush. It's kind of just like when you lay your acrylic, like you want to always be in control of the bead, of the acrylic, of the gel polish, of all of it. So that way it goes exactly where you want it to go. That's probably the hardest part when you first start, is staying in control, because you're still learning like your consistency of like bead to monomer ratio, or gel polish, how much you want on the tip of your brush, where you want it on the brush when you're painting, etc., stuff like that. So definitely that's a big thing you want to work on, because it'll make all of your art so much simpler. You might feel like, oh, I can't really draw, I don't really know what I'm doing. But by staying in control and getting a nice outline first, you're just filling in the lines. It's just like when you're actually doing your acrylic and you make sure that your tips are filed really nicely and shaped correctly. So when you lay your acrylic, you just lay inside those lines basically, and it cuts down on your filing, etc., whatever. So just make sure that you're focusing on making sure you get really good line work first, and staying in control of your brush and your liquid, so that you're not all over the place and it's dripping and running. Okay, and shortly after this, honestly, my phone dies, so, and I didn't even bother to charge it because I'm pretty much done. So I'll be showing you, this is what Mickey turned out. He's all done. This is Minnie, the rest of the set. Please, please, please like, comment, share. Make sure that you're checking out my Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Kind of thinking about doing a giveaway soon, so check me out. Bye.